So my parents immigrated to the United States from Taiwan. It's a very similar story. My father got a PhD at the University of Pennsylvania and studied there, and afterwards worked in corporate America. So we lived in the Midwest. I was actually born in Michigan, but 我第一个语言是中文，因为我在家里都跟我爸爸妈妈讲中文。So we lived throughout the Midwest and then spent 4 years in Singapore before my parents decided to relocate back to the United States in California. And they wanted us to grow up in California because it was so diverse. In the Midwest, it was just us. We were the only Asian faces. And they wanted to make sure that we appreciated our culture. So I grew up in Hacienda Heights and went to local public high schools before getting a scholarship through the Navy ROTC program to go to Harvard. And after Harvard, worked in consulting for a couple of years before coming back home to run for my local school board for the district that I graduated from. And my first experience in politics was actually as an intern in Congress. I lived not too far from here, off of the Red Line, and would commute over to DC as an intern to serve in Congress. That was right after I graduated from high school. I think my background is an asset. I think the strength of our country is in its diversity. That's what makes us such a strong country. When other countries look at the United States, they can see themselves within the United States. They can imagine themselves living here. And I think that makes us, that's what makes us such a role model for other countries, that we provide that opportunity for so many others. And I'm very proud to raise my own children with an appreciation of their background. My children, they also speak Chinese, they speak Japanese as well, and we want them to appreciate their background and their culture. So I definitely think that it's an asset. Yeah. We have a preschool that's right around the corner from our house, and I thought, why not let them learn a new language? If that was a preschool that taught Spanish, they'd be speaking Spanish, but it happened to be a Japanese preschool. So I thought, why not let our kids pick up a new language, and then they can take us to Japan when they're older and help us order sushi. Yes, hablo español también. I can read and write Spanish better than I can Chinese.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I can actually get by. I'm certified at a linguist level through the Department of Defense. They test you on your different language capabilities. So my Spanish language is actually higher than my Chinese language. Yeah, well, they're just happy that I can speak. Okay. The Chinese language is so difficult with all the characters that you have to memorize. So I'm just, grateful that they spoke to me in Chinese growing up. And if my kids can just speak Chinese and understand it, I think that would be a huge advantage for them. But I also want them to learn Spanish as well, because the United States is so diverse. And the ability to speak other languages, I think, is one of the gifts that as a parent you can really give to your children. And I know my parents, their generation, there were a lot of parents who would not speak to their children in Chinese because they were afraid that they wouldn't learn English. And they really, regret that, because English we can always pick up. But if you don't have that early opportunity to speak another language, it's very difficult to do it later on. Yeah, so the district that I'm running in is actually one of the most Asian districts in the United States. It's about 40% Asian. But half of those are Vietnamese Americans, but there's a sizable Chinese, there's also Koreans, Filipinos. It's a very, very diverse demographic, and also it's 20% Latino. So my language ability, I think, serves me well to communicate. And once I get into Congress, I'd love to serve on the Foreign Affairs Committee. And I think having that language ability, having the experience of living abroad will really benefit me. So, I've lived in Latin America. I've written travel guides to South America and Central America. I also did study abroad in Asia, and I was deployed to the Middle East. So I'm a lieutenant commander in the Navy Reserves, and I had a chance to serve my country abroad for the campaign to defeat ISIS. So I think all of these international experiences will give me a much more well-rounded view once I arrive in Congress.